Like, he knows we're coming, but he doesn't know
true.
what time we're coming, so we might as well just catch him on guard. You are?
You
Say
totally
hello,
made it
yeah.
happen. We're so excited. So
Yeah.
we were kind of talking, about Nichiha and about your product. So maybe we can kind of just formally go a little bit into like the history of the company because it's really exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the presentation we're in this afternoon at 1:15 is about exterior and interior design.
Okay.
So in Japan, we're pretty well established. We've been there since 1974 making these products, and about a third of our business is interiors. And so, because the system really lends itself to making interior design, flexibility a lot.
Yeah, we got a lot of people coming by,
Yeah,
huh?
there's just sessions just getting out of class.
Yeah. Let's look. Come over
Just go
here.
over here. So,
Look how busy it is here, though, right?
yeah, I know.
Isn't it
Well, I
great?
like it because people, I think, finally figured out where this is, and that's why I wanted to do this live stream today. Actually, worked out good because people are having a hard time finding these. So we're at North 257 upstairs in North Hall.
So
you have
here's
to come upstairs.
Yeah, and here's the deal. I mean, yesterday we were going to go live. We market it, but that's the thing with live anything. You just never know. It's
Right.
it's no different than when you're watching the news and all of a sudden, oh, we lost them.
Oh, I know.
I got lost in the beginning. I think everybody went live, but we're here now, and we're not only going to do it today. We're going to come back tomorrow.
Oh,
we're gonna come by and see what you're doing and really make sure everybody knows where you're at because. Tim, you're a huge proponent and supporter of offsite construction.
Yep.
And Audrey's world, my world, your world, that's really important to us. And it's really important that people understand that are in our industry or looking to get in our industry, know how to find the people that understand it. Your company's been doing it a long time.
Yeah, what's interesting is there's this. I think there's a lot of misnomers. Like architecturally, people put modern and contemporary together, but they're actually not the same or remotely close. And the same thing with modular, offsite, panelization. All of those kind of fall under this category of componentization. So when you're thinking of components, it could be ductwork work that's prefabbed, it could be wall panels that are prefabbed, it could be offsite, it could be onsite. But the general thing we're adopting here from our Japan heritage with offsite is number one, what's portable to the United States, and number two, educating our organization about it, and number three, working with the AD&C community, the interior designers, the architects, the city, the GC, the developer, to really help all those people get in a room to solve for, let's say, the building envelope early in the stage, or to solve for attachment early in the stage. Because there's a certain amount of things you can do with like volumetric construction that you can't do with panelization.
Sure.
And so we're taking each of those case by case, and one of the best things we did last year was we started doing technical design reviews. So those reviews are free, but we started to get into these conversations with developers and builders and architects about their wall assembly. And then at first we were like, oh man, this is too much. But our team was able to distill, for instance, the job we did in Round Rock. It's 950 room resort.
Wow.
And originally they were going to panelize offsite, but they ended up panelizing onsite. And we only had to create 2 new details for that. And so that's just the dedication that comes from that and the awareness. So our team hadn't been working on anything like that.
Right.
So it's really trying to be the champion at Nichiha, but also for the customers.
And the pre-planning, right? The development and having that customer engagement and really
Right.
knowing, I think that's where you guys are so superior in doing that, because really it is about the customer and your end user and making sure that the product is purchased the right way and has that right feeling for those projects, right? In residential and in commercial.
Right, thanks for bringing that up. I mean, we're learners. There's so much more to learn, because every project's different. Probably the most repeatable projects are hospitality, so we figured those out pretty quick. But then, we have builders like Kieran Timberlake, they use several different kinds of prefab on one project. So how do those things come together in a story that can be articulated from interior to the exterior, not only design-wise, system-wise, and so we're really working getting our technical team involved early on, and we're seeing excitement by them.
Sure.
Not just me at Nichiha anymore, excited about it. Excitement by them to go like, all right, let's roll up our sleeves and figure out how to make this work. So, for instance, there's a trend now for the interior to flow to the exterior
Right.
from a materiality standpoint.
Yes.
So a lot of products you can't do that with necessarily. And then when you introduce some offsite sort of story to it, then you have a little bit more of a robust conversation. So historically, we haven't been that into having those conversations just because we weren't focused on it. But now everyone's focused on it, and not only everyone in our company, but everyone like you two, and everyone like that was in that room for what we talked about modular offsite.
Right.
The componentization one that's after this, like 3 o'clock down at N258.
Yes.
The awareness is pretty monster.
Yeah.
And just really quick, I was on your website, and I think your website is outstanding. First of all, it's easy
Oh,
to
thanks.
navigate.
Okay,
and I
great.
think the other thing that's really cool about what you guys offer is lookbooks. So people can actually go online, they can actually open up these books, they can see colors, and they can see the different types of, fabric boards, and they can see all these different types of things that you've put together, which makes it so engaging for the end user.
Yeah, I think Amy Dinsmore is our senior designer,
Okay.
and she worked really hard before AIA last year to launch that. And it was all about, we talked earlier about being easy to buy, making things easier, and that flow is easy. So we're coming out with a commercial lookbook later this year. She's working on the modular landing page right now. So we had all this imagery that she now has to, I'm not a designer, so she has to, her and Christine have to clean it all up, but they're excited about it too, because the word's spreading even in our own company. And so it is aspirational and inspirational from a aesthetic standpoint, but it's also geared to technical enough for specifiers, for city planners, for people that need the technical documents. So we'll be producing some more videos that should be helpful.
Yeah.
I think those will be fun.
Yeah.
And because our old ones were functional at the time,
Right.
but things have changed a little bit. So
Well, I got a question
Yeah,
for
go
you,
for
because
it.
we're talking about all the technical and all
Yeah.
the things that you're doing to help educate. How does somebody that has a project and is thinking
question.
about using Nichiha get in touch? How do they get involved and work with your technical department? Maybe it's a complex project, maybe it's commercial, maybe it's residential, because you have all the detachable siding. I mean, you have a lot of different components that will work for several different types of homes or commercial products. How do they work with you?
yeah, so again, back to that accessibility standpoint, making things easier for people to get a hold of by how we go to market. On our website, we used to have all these calls to action, and they were not in easy to find places. But now we just have one at the top of our page. Contact a rep. Our people get back to folks really quick, and they will set up a technical design review. There's usually just a couple qualifying questions. We're trying to make it as easy as possible
Right.
for them. And Gabriel and David and Marlon in our technical department, they just jump on stuff for markups. And we're even doing it for not just basis of design. So someone has a project and we get involved from the basis of design standpoint, but also looking at value engineering, because most folks are looking for alternatives. Because, for instance, a lot of designers trying to get away from EIFS and stucco.
Right.
So how do you start that conversation, documentation, and make it easy when it's a really is friction full word? Full of friction process.
Right. So for
Yeah.
everybody out there that's watching, this is a live feed. This is great.
Yep.
So if you have any comments or you want to share this, get it out there and share. We are with Nichiha USA, the one, the only, Tim Seims, our offsite guru, and we love him to death. So, Tim, what do we have to look forward to in the future with Nichiha?
Well, we are launching several new products this year. The great thing about how we launch products is they're all on the same system. So we basically just can do a new profile or a new sheen or a new color, and really give people an opportunity to have more design options at a really good price point, so they can do a lot more with it.
Right.
and be more inspirational themselves and help people make that happen, execute on it. And if people ever have any questions, they can contact me on LinkedIn. They can reach out to our team through the website. I think from a trend standpoint, what we're seeing a lot of because I don't think we got to talk about that. What we're seeing a lot of is dark corner trims,
Right.
anything that will match the windows, and recessed windows. Not just because continuing insulation is more prolific right now
Right.
because of IECC, but that look of the sort of storefront where the windows are set back just gives a plain break that you can't really get with other stuff. And then we also see an articulation of the plain break on the exterior of a home, say something's 4 inches proud than another product, and just trying to get more dimension.
Sure.
So we're really working with architects and our R&D to make sure we have the right products at the right price point, the right format that works for the design community. That's our biggest focus right now.
And you guys really are on that leading edge in innovation, and I wanted to go there because it just popped into my mind. And I know people see me looking at my phone. It's only because we're live. I'm trying to see. There's people, yeah. So that's why I'm looking at it. So I'm not being rude to Tim.
That's funny.
But
I didn't think about that. I didn't think it was rude, but it makes a lot of sense.
yeah, I typed your name in there and your company, so when people come on, they know who you are because it doesn't say that just yet.
Right.
I'm not that sophisticated. We'll get there. But you did a project in Pittsburgh not too long ago, which was a cutting edge designed by Module, I think it was, right?
Yep, modular housing, Brian and the team, yep.
Yep. And tell us a little bit about how you get involved in projects like that.
Well, honestly, it usually starts with a web search. Someone's like how Brian found us is his marketing manager, design manager was looking for siding options, exterior options, because there just aren't a lot, and there's this giant gap between super exotic European or South American panels and systems, and then kind of your commodity goods. And so everyone's looking for something that is more kind of in the middle. So they found us, and then because I was working with modular projects, our team then sent Brian to me, and then we got into okay, now what product fits? How are we going to do the color? We have a compressed time schedule, obviously, modular offsite. We have a compressed time schedule because we're doing a lot of moving parts, and that's one of the selling points, right?
Right.
So, so then that conversation got my technical team involved, and then we had our installer out of Louisville put together a price for those guys in a couple hours, and really the process was fairly quick. But it was because you have to be hands-on. I mean, yes, email's good, yes, chatbots are great for information, but like, you know, we're phone people.
Yeah, it's engagement, right?
Yeah, you got to pick up the phone and communicate.
Because you can take that conversation that you can have in like a 5-minute conversation with you about a home, and or you about a multifamily project, and it will take 30 emails.
Right.
But because we're both speaking the same language, you pick up the phone, have a conversation, get some deliverables that help with the project, and then it just speeds up. Because the value in modular offsite is not necessarily cost savings or time offsite. Like there's still the same amount of time to build the thing, but it's that time on site.
Right.
So all this back office stuff is happening.
Well, and I think it's really great, like the products that you have and the different finishes that you have really also help make architecture so much more beautiful from the outside for offsite, and I think that's super important, and not to mention how humble you are. I mean, you've worked with amazing big brands, you know, Burger King, Chick-fil-A, any of those beautiful exteriors that you've seen.
That's you guys.
That's them. So it's really great to be able to have this conversation with you. It's exciting for us too.
You want a glassy looking siding. I mean, you can get it at Nichiha.
You can.
So, you know, talking about the people and they're on the phone, there's a lot of people don't know. Like, you do a lot of volunteer work. We met on LinkedIn because you were in Puerto Rico after that major disaster. And I believe
just had another one.
Yeah, they did. But it was pouring down rain, and you were huddled under something, and you did a video post, and you had that look of what did I get myself into? But then we started talking like, this is awesome. So, I mean, I think, you know, you're real.
Oh, thanks.
That's the thing, right? You're humble and you're real, and I think that's just people should know that about you, because you just mentioned the latest disaster.
Right.
Are you going?
Yeah, I'm going. I'll probably be going in March. Yeah, so, but, you know, I think that our industry is not really a pretentious industry. We're blue-collar people. We're, you know, professional, but also can get out there with tool bags on. And you know, that modular offsite story works well with temporary and permanent modular for disaster relief. And that's been fun to talk with folks about projects like that, too, because I I have an affinity for people in those situations where they have no home, like, you know, sleeping in a tin shack.
Right,
And,
right.
and that's a tragedy that we can
Contribute and help,
contribute
right?
and help
Yeah.
and make a difference.
Absolutely.
So not all things we can contribute and make a difference and have it be so impactful. That one happens to be one I love, and it fits with the industry I love because I love building.
And I think it's so interesting how your company supports you. That was one of the things we were talking about too.
Yeah.
That they have the same love in their heart, and they want to, you know, do good for people and be good, you know, components of that. So it's nice to see that there's actually companies out there that actually care as well.
They do.
Yeah,
right, to support us.
four times Kenny and Jim at Nichiha, you know, when I would ask to be able to go do these things, sometimes it involved a deeper conversation about scheduling and stuff like that, but every time it was, yes, go do it, go take care of this. And so, you know, working for a company that's very loyal, and that's somewhat Japanese cultural, but also the management team, the American management team, is very much so the same. So,
Right.
And that's why I've been here 10 years.
I know.
You know, that's
Coming up
I
on
haven't
10 years.
I haven't
Just
done
flies
hardly
by.
anything for 10 years in my life.
Well, not only that, like, we're going to add even more on. Tell us about your podcast.
Oh wow! So we the current
I was going
podcast
to
we
lean on
have
you. I'm
is-
getting tired. You have too many stories.
Well, I'm really humbled and honored to work with a former coworker, Caroline Albano.
Yeah, super cool.
Oh, she's great. And so we do a podcast about the building industry, opportunities for people, AD and C. We cover, of course, a lot of cladding because that's our world. But we talk about origin stories, like your origin story. It's so interesting to, you know, how do people find a way into the industry, either through a linear path in college or non-linear, and then what does that sound like? What does that feel like? How can someone, you know, make that happen for themselves?
Yeah.
I know Mike Rowe's done a lot of work on that, so he has a lot of papers at MicroWorks is the name of his
MicroWorks,
company.
yeah.
And just, you know, I remember getting out of high school and getting into construction. My first job was volunteer at Hurricane Iniki on Kauai, and I was 18 and went over there and got started. And all my buddies were in college, and they got out. Most of them had loans, right?
Yeah.
So by the time they got out of college, I already had a house, had a daughter, and was established with some roots.
Wow.
And then later I got to go to college. One of my employers sent me to college. So that was really, it's a story that it seems to perpetuate a lot in the industry, and to let people know there's a lot of different ways to get in and make this happen for their careers and their families,
Yeah,
and do
for
something
sure.
impactful.
And it's nice that you celebrate those stories, right? Because
Oh,
when
yeah.
it comes down to it, we're all just people. We're all just trying to help each other.
We
all
are.
have different ways that we're going, and it's nice to be able to collaborate with those types of stories.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
so enjoy it. I enjoy 99% of the people in the industry. No, I'm kidding.
99.9%.
90%.
Yeah. Hey, listen, that's just the honest truth. They're not. They're, you know, it's not everybody's great.
Not
you know.
everyone likes me either.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, the thing is you know, whether or not you have like we joke about job site trailer conversations.
Yeah.
Not every one of those is a pleasant, fun conversation when you're trying to work out detailing for a project.
Right, right.
You know, you have multiple. You have your installer. You have the building envelope consultant. You have the GC. You have the owner's rep, and everyone's trying to make this work, and it can get very tense. But if we're all just patient with each other and we realize we're trying to reach this goal for the occupants, we're trying to reach this goal for the developer and their ROI, their investors,
Yeah.
and their exit, whatever their strategy is, then everyone can sort of get on the same page.
Right.
And so I always view that as kind of a fun challenge. You know?
Well, it's the collaboration, it's the innovation. You know, if the framer's off a little bit, that may cause some changes in the siding and the cladding.
Right.
And
It doesn't
and-
happen though. That
No,
framers are
yeah.
never off.
You know what? I've been noticing that too. I mean, it's amazing. The world's
Maybe with
changing.
modular construction.
Not modular. Listen, it's still built by humans. Mistakes
Yeah.
happen.
Right.
Right. It's easy to be a 16th or an eighth of an inch off. It's that simple, right?
Yeah. It's
Out-
helpful to have a floating wall system.
Yeah.
When a job we did in New Jersey, where the plate lines, the mate lines were,
Right.
you know, a little off. It was nicer to be able to plane that in easier than having something that was more a direct attached product.
Right,
So
right.
it's really fun to give solutions and help people with that.
I think so too.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun, and the fact that you guys have been around so long, that's what's really exciting. All right, been asking everybody this. Tell us something that nobody knows about you.
That
And don't be shy.
knows about me. When I was little, I was addicted to peanut butter and M&Ms. Before peanut butter M&Ms
Wow, see, you had something.
Did you just pull that out of the top of your head?
It seems like there are so many pictures of me going back through my mom's photo albums of peanut butter
And M&Ms?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
And
you still
yeah,
like
I
that
don't know. I
today?
don't know why that came to mind, but I'm
Yeah,
sure there's
just
more
like, how
interesting
Now we
things.
know what to get him. Now we know what to
Yeah.
send him for Christmas.
I was waiting for some college bachelor party of, something.
There are some
There's
Vegas
nothing wrong with
stories from
chocolate, though.
previous events
Right.
here in Las Vegas, but they're all hearsay about me in Las Vegas.
Right.
None of them
Are true?
can be
Proved?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I'm getting run over here. So,
It's busy here, but that's good. I'd hate
Yeah,
it
it
if
is.
this
It is.
hallway was empty. That would be
yeah,
awful.
and the
Amazing.
sessions keep coming in and out. So, Tim, tell everybody how they get a hold of you, where they should follow you. Tell them about, where to see your podcast at.
Yep. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about it. So, Build Perspectives is
Oh,
the
you're
name
out of
of
time.
the
I'm sorry.
podcast.
No, I'm just kidding. We gotta go.
Build Perspectives is the name of the podcast. We may be rebranding that, but it's still the same concept. And then Nichiha, we're going to do a podcast about interior and exterior design
That's
from
awesome.
from a standpoint of a building science standpoint, from a design standpoint, architectural deep dives, as well as more aesthetic conversation.
Right.
And some of those will overlap. And we're actually going to do some interviews with people inside the company about how they got
What they do,
started,
yeah.
what they
Right.
do, and how people can contact them to get their ball rolling.
Right.
And so just trying to increase, like you said, the collaboration, the conversation. We need more of that, because I think what's happened is the last couple of years, there's all this focus on construction technology, disaggregation, a disaggregated channel. We need to aggregate it, disintermediate it, make it easier. And in that conversation, I think it's actually gotten more difficult. I think there's been added friction in the conversation, construction, especially with offsite, over the last couple of years as people are trying to figure it out. So now I think I feel like just recently there's more coalescence.
Yeah.
There's more conversation without worrying so much about competition. And so that's what we're trying to encourage, even if we're not involved in the project.
Right,
Awareness
right.
is key, right?
It is all about
Communication.
awareness.
It's all about communication and
Yeah,
having
for sure.
that key opportunity to educate and to show that there's
100%.
opportunity out there.
I've been getting aware that you've had to hold that the whole time, and I'm sitting here all comfortable.
Oh, yeah, you get a chance to take a little break
These were-
today.
that wasn't
Mr.
very nice to me,
Interview
was it? It
The
wasn't
doc-
very nice to me.
He's been
The Dr.
nonstop.
Pager, I love that.
All right, so Tim Seims, personal information, LinkedIn.
Yeah,
How do we
okay.
get you?
So LinkedIn, just type in Tim Seims. The last name is spelled really weird, Seims.
I put it in the notes if
Yep.
you're watching this.
And Nichiha.com is Nichiha.com. And my phone number is 425-492-0973. Call, text, whatever. People send me pictures of projects all the time. I don't know who the heck they are, and they have questions. And it's fun to be able to keep that velocity of the conversation
Yeah,
going.
for
so
sure.
however people want to contact me, I'll respond.
Yeah, perfect. So there you have it, everybody. Tim Seims, Nichiha USA. We have Audrey Grubasek from Modular Sure Site out of Denver, Colorado. And of course, I'm Dave Cooper. You're on Dave Cooper Live.